article writing. So topics to be covered under this presentation is a publishable format of
Madam,
work.
one second, madam.
Okay.
If the participants have any question, let us allow the questions at the end. Is it okay, madam? Or are they allowed?
Fine. If they, and at the end it is good, sir.
Yeah, let us allow them at the end. Until till then, I will keep them muted. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
If you want to say anything, they can put it
let
in
them,
the chat box.
give the message. I mean, chat box. Let them use, but then later maybe I can see that. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So topics in this particular session will cover a publishable format of our research work, research data and result presentation, how it is referencing and citation. I'm not much doing in referencing and citation because there is an exclusive session is there for that. Effective PowerPoint presentation. All right, these points let us consider. All right. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. So now again, I'm back to what is research. Research is a systematic and scientific search for knowledge. The knowledge can be added knowledge to the knowledge, or it is additional knowledge or added knowledge to the already existing knowledge. So in that process, there is research derives a knowledge, or it is entirely maybe a new knowledge, or it can be added knowledge to the already existing knowledge. But research becomes knowledge if it is published. Otherwise, it remains, okay, I have done a study, but I have not published, means what? It doesn't, nobody will know that what study you have done and how it is helpful for the society. So research, if it is published, then it becomes a knowledge. All right. That knowledge, since it is published in the form of literature, somebody will read. All right. Then they'll identify some research gap. Then he will take up one new research topic and do research. All right. This is what the circle of research what we conduct in our. This is what this is what happens, or this is how the enhancement of knowledge occurs or happens. Okay. Research we conduct, we publish. That literature, once it is published, we call it as literature, right? Already the knowledge what has been it is then in particular journal. Okay, so somebody will read that and they will identify some research gap in that, because in any research we cannot handle all the component in one research. So they'll find some research gap, in a sense something they're not done. Okay, they feel that can be taken as their objectives, and they'll start new research. Okay, so it is a circle. All right. And we know that to conduct research, it's a methodology, and in each step, methodology in a sense, various steps, and in each step there are methods, how it has to be achieved, that method, and what a component has to be taken care of. That and all we have seen in the previous presentation. All right. So what is that? First one is select the topic, then gather the information and resources. That means extensive literature survey. From that, we can identify a gap, and then we can form our objectives and the hypothesis. Then we have to prepare a research design. Then we have to perform, or we have to collect the data. That means conduct the survey. Why? Because to collect the data. Then we have to analyze the collected data. We have to prepare the master chart, and then we have to use statistical tools to analyze the data. Analyzing the data means transforming the collected data to the interpretable form. If it is not analyzed, okay, then it is not possible to interpret out of it. Data will remain some junk. It will not be we cannot draw any information unless it is analyzed. If at all it has to be analyzed, we need to have a statistical knowledge. All right. Then we whatever analysis we get through statistical components or statistical values and statistical measures will be there that need to be interpreted, and hypotheses need to be tested, and we have to draw conclusion. After that, we have to prepare the report. Okay, so we need to have all the above. Then only we can prepare a report. Okay, then only we can publish. That becomes knowledge. So we need all the things what we have talking about in research methodology to book to write a paper also. Okay, we have to go through all these steps. All right. So what all things we need to write a paper? We need research problem, that is topic, and we need to write a paper. I'm telling you now, we need to write a paper. Okay, even thesis also, we need all these things. But in thesis, we write things elaborately and more extensively. But in a paper, we have some selection, in the sense we are constrained with the certain pages, or rather certain words, so that we cannot give each and every important aspects, or what we focus on the objectives, only that much can be given. So we have to focus it on that only. So what is required to write a research paper? We need one research problem, good research problem, or it is called as research topic. Then we need literature reviews of the research problem. Then we say that after the research literature review, we have constructed these objectives. Then we write in the then we need the methodology. We call in paper writing it is a methodology. Rather, it is exactly what it is. Methodology means here. Here it means like, if you have objectives, how you are going to achieve those objectives. Okay, that methodology or those methods you have to provide in that. All right. Then analysis of the data. Okay, analysis of the data means analyzed data along with the interpretation and discussion. All right, and then we can write. Then only we can, if you have all these things, we can write a report and we can publish. Okay, so these things are required to write one good research paper. All right, we need a topic, and here instead of topic, why I have written research problem? There is a reason, because research problem, when you are talking about topic, means it is specific. When you talk about research problem, we need to know that the why, what, and how. What is the need of that particular research problem we have taken? Need for that, all the things will come under that research problem. Okay. So now research problem, when you are talking about, okay, we need to know, we need to have a title, that's a topic, title, purpose of the study, definitions of the terms involved, significance of the study. Okay, so problem, when you say, we are like, we talk about all these things under the problem. Okay, so usually in thesis writing, we take these things in the introduction. Okay, so title, purpose of the study, in the sense why the study is conducted, and then if at all any special definitions are involved, in the sense satisfaction, in what meaning satisfaction you are taking up in your study, in what meaning motivation, if at all it is there, how in motivation you are taking. Suppose you are taking utilization of certain policies or certain services of the banks or etc. Then what is the meaning of utilization? See, certain terms what you use, that meanings related, that also it has to come, it should be like, taken care of while mentioning the research problem in the form of introduction. All right. Then significance of the study. Why your study is important. Okay. What is the outcome, consequence of your study? Okay. Purpose of the study, why you are doing that, and significance is what is the implication of your study? Who will benefit out of your study? Okay. These things we need to have when I am talking about research problem. Then is like, okay, one example is there here. Stress level among or stress among IT professionals. A study in Karnataka. Okay, here this is a title. What is the purpose of studying this stress among IT professionals? Okay, see, I may not be able to write my own, but then I can take a help of various literatures to write about why this study I have taken up by giving a due respect for those authors in the form of reference. Okay, then what is the meaning of stress? There are a lot of meaning for such stress actually. In what context or in which meaning you are taking up what is stress? Okay, that has to be very clearly being given because that helps to to form the questionnaire. All right, then comes the significance of the study. What is the impact of your study? What are benefits people will get out of your study? That need to be stress among IT professionals if you study. So in the sense, in the form of remedial measures or the suggestions, you will be giving certain suggestions that will help the people like IT professionals to handle their stress or coping with the stress. So significance of the study like that. You understood? So these things should be these things will come under research problem. These things I need to have in my hand while writing my research paper. All right. So here I'm giving what, why, and implications has to be known when I'm writing research or paper on stress among IT professionals, a study in Karnataka. Okay. Next comes literature review. Okay. Next comes literature review. Sorry. Oh, so it's whether it is whether you can see my slide. Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. Next area is literature review. Whether it is important in paper writing, it is important. All right. So very, very important actually. Because you have to, when good paper writing, you have to show clearly what is new in your study. So to say that this is new in your study, you have to show that what is existing in the literature, what knowledge is existing regarding the topic you have taken up. So literature review components you need to have under that, to know what, why, and how, underlying theory if at all it is there, variables used from previous studies also, theoretical framework to identify gap in research knowledge, all these components to understand. Okay, and it is very important in paper writing. Okay, so literature review is important that we give in a paper as a background of the study, or literature review only. Some papers they'll accept it as a literature review, but some papers they make it as a background of the study. All right. Next, these literature review helps us to construct the objectives. So what we do is while writing the paper, literature review concept we take it as a background of the study, and then we say that because of these things, we we have constructed the following objectives. So it shows that we are identifying such a research gap and we are giving that objectives as a research gap. That has to come in your research. It will be excellent to publish in a good journal. Okay, so always they ask that what is new in your study. So because when you are uploading your paper, there are certain uploading the paper in a good journal is a little pain only actually if you see. So they'll ask, we have a lot of boxes there or the columns there, options there, that we have to provide them. In that, one of them is what is new in your study. Okay, we have to write one or two sentences that what is new in our study. All right. So now see here, stress among IT professionals when you are talking about a study in Karnataka. All right. So these are the objectives. All right. Hypothesis also it is there, but so many objectives for the paper it is not at all required. Okay. Only the one or two objectives you take it very effectively and efficiently. That is only it is enough. And then one or two hypotheses in that. That's enough. This is like now for a thesis it is taken like that. So one or two objectives fine for a paper, and one or two hypotheses very good for a paper. Okay. So, based on these objectives and literature, so the particular study had this conceptual framework. Okay, so developed because of the after objectives. Okay, this helps. This objective helps. This conceptual framework helps. Okay, person to like construct the objectives. Okay, so this part is very important. Which part is important? Literature review and paper writing is very important. So, and also those literatures you have to take it from a good journal, not like error kind of thing, but you have to take it from a good Web of Science and Scopus and things like that. And one more thing I'll tell you, if at all you are focusing on one particular journal, okay, and suppose it is in one it is in Web of Science, okay, then they will. It is always better you take few more articles from that same journal, okay, and then give as a reference in your article, okay. So this is also one of the techniques where you they think that okay you are using their own papers because they get the referencing for that, all right. So they need the references, so you can use their own journal and as a reference in your study you include their articles or the literature in your study, giving the due references for that article, okay. So objectives we have, all right. Next comes the methodology. See, this is also very important. Of course, everything is important, but then this is also very important in writing a paper. So under this, what all component we have to include? Study type, whether it is descriptive or exploratory in management studies, population and the sample. You have to give properly what is population and what is sample. Stress among IT professional or study in Karnataka, of course, it is a descriptive study. Okay. Now, population and population when we are talking about IT professionals, where in Karnataka. Okay. So this is what the population of the study and sample. Sample we have to calculate. Sample we have to calculate using one or the other sampling sample calculation formula. All right. So I have shown you one formula previously. There is one more formula may be useful is for the paper I'm telling, because in the thesis what happens, you have to give the population approximately what it is. Always it will be given. Okay, it is mandatory to give. Okay, but in paper it is not necessary that you have to say that this is what the population and then not necessary. If you give it is good and your calculated sample size based on this formula, but otherwise it is you can use a second formula wherein it is talking about certain component you have to take it from the previous article and then you have to calculate, okay, because sample size calculation itself is one can be one session actually, okay. So you can utilize these two formulas to calculate, because now probably that is not, I can tell you that these are the formulas we can use, all right. So what is that I'm telling you? The sample size, how you calculated, how much you calculated, formula has to be given for a good publication. All right. You cannot say that I collected data from 25 and 50, 100 and sometimes people ask me, I am writing a paper, 50 sample is enough, no? Okay. What's the meaning of that enough, no? I should tell yes, it is enough. Okay. Because when how many I have to take? No, not that question that people are asking. They're asking that enough, no, that if at all I say yes, it is enough, then you carry, I mean, you start writing like that. So no, not like that. We have to calculate sample size scientifically. So this is, I'm stressing on this. Dear participants, those who are here in this, you make a practice of this using sample size calculation. All right. Then questionnaire. Okay, you have to mention, you need to mention in a paper how the questionnaires are developed and what all the components are included in your questionnaire. Okay, like for example, here IT professionals say questionnaire should include about job content, about workload, working hours, and all these other causes. See, causes he has mentioned it is so many. Regarding those causes, these are all the questions it has been asked. See, very nicely questionnaire is developed. So this questionnaire like this you can develop only after preparing, after the literature review, identifying the gap, and this after having a conceptual framework, you can give such a beautiful questionnaire. You cannot give the what is that topic you selected and directly you cannot move to the questionnaire. Okay, sometimes some people will, they'll bring the questionnaire, then I'm asking whether your literature review is over. No, no, it is on the process, they say. But how you can prepare a questionnaire if your literature review is not over, right? So where is the research gap you should handle, no, in the form of objectives, so that, okay. So now questionnaire is done, then data analysis. You have to know that how the data is been analyzed, all right. What all the techniques are used, that also should be mentioned in the report. Okay, that is that part, methodology part. Now, next part we need in writing the paper is analysis of data, in the sense analyzed data using statistical techniques. It can be descriptive analysis and it can be inferential analysis. Okay, see research. Now, some article you might have seen, even with the frequency and percentage and one simple chi-square test, they might have winded up and it might have come in a very good journal. Okay, you can talk about Q1 journal. Now we think like, no, nothing is there in the article, but still it has come in Q1 journal. How? Right? But then something new they show in that, definitely. So to publish in a good like no journal, not necessary that you need to go for one high funda statistical techniques. No, being a statistician, I'm telling, not like that. Generation of the knowledge is important than the statistical methods. Junk of statistical methods, like some papers, if I see that they do that also, this also, that also, this also. Even in when the thesis also, when sometimes when the suggestion they ask, I want that, I want this, I want that, I want this. Like, what is your data? It should tolerate your statistical methods, no? Your data is there. How much statistical methods you can apply to generate anything from that, but it is not a knowledge. Okay, it has to handle. No, I feel pity on the numbers that, oh my God, so many statistical methods are used, and like no, something like that. All right. So there's a wrong concept that like no, you use great statistical methods and you are they are like no paper is published in a good journal. That is a wrong concept. Because I tell you, we had a very bad experience with one paper. Okay, all like we have done very high standard statistical methods, and we have got rejected 6 times in the from the articles. Now we are like no, where we have gone wrong we cannot identify. They give a lot of corrections and they reject. We incorporate it and again we upload, again they reject. We don't know what is the reason. Okay, all statistical methods are there because I am the author in that. All right, but then still it is getting rejected that way. You understand? That's why I'm telling something is missing in that. It is not a very popular topic. It is maybe. It is not like that. Maybe I'll show you that article also later. Okay. So using statistical techniques, analysis like descriptive and inferential, don't keep it don't go to the like think that like high funder statistical methods I need to have a regression. Sometimes the people doesn't have a data, but they ask me, can I use regression analysis for this? Can I use that? Can I use SCM? Some diagram you give me that so that I can say that it is SCM. No, that's not the thing. I feel very pity for that thing actually. All right. Next. Next is interpretation and interpretation or results and discussion is required in the study. Now, what's the meaning of results? You can understand that what statistical analysis you get, the interpreting that, yeah. But what is the meaning of discussion? Discussion means you are giving your input for that particular component, what you have interpreted, or what others have found out in their study. You can say that, okay, this is what my finding. The IT professionals are highly stressed. More than 90% of the IT professionals are having a moderate to severe level of stress. Okay. And then you are saying that study conducted so and so in Korea, they also found that they are highly stressed. The study conducted in US, so and so, also found this so much. So you understood. And study conducted in Australia, they have shown the IT professionals are having moderate stress. Something like this. That discussion comes with along with your result. No, it is so beautiful, and you will be giving because it to shows your capacity, your no professionalism, or your attitude towards a certain research. It shows clearly when you write your research article. Okay, so I am telling discussion. All right. So interpretation of the results obtained from the descriptive and inferential study and drawing conclusion, we need to have this. Then after having all these things, you can write a report. After having all this, you can write a very good report. Dear participants, these are the things we require. Okay, so it is not that like no, I cannot publish. Of course, we can. Everyone is capable of publishing good article. All right. See, my first, my individual, I'm telling, not co-author. It has come with one journal. It was there with the certain indexing, and but then it has been removed later. But I paid some amount. That's the first one. After that, I realized I shouldn't be doing it. That like no. After that, whatever publication we have done without giving money. Okay. Recently, one publication it is accepted and it is a Q1 journal. It got accepted, and we were so happy. Of course, the process was not easy. They'll ask you n number of times, a lot of questions. You need to have a patience, and you need to have a. Sometimes the same question they'll ask again and again. All right, same question they will ask, but still, that what happens that time? We have to be patient enough, and then we have to tackle it again, and we have to write again with patience. It takes a lot of time, but when it gets published, the feeling of that happiness, in a Q1 journal, that we couldn't wait to bring it out in an online mode. It was asking about 80,000 rupees. Okay, only to bring it out to the online mode. Okay, so that everybody can see that paper and they can download. Now only abstract you can see of our paper. They have given only for us, but they have taken clearly the copyright that we cannot share this article with the in Google Scholar also we cannot not Google Scholar, the ResearchGate also we cannot upload that paper at all because they have taken the copyright with us. Okay, so that is a thing. Like now we have reached. I can say that I have reached to publish in Q1 type of journal. Q1 means first quartile. Okay, of course it is in Web of Science that is there, but the Q1 journal you can imagine it's very hard to go up to that level. But I have started with the what we say that always a humble start. Yes, starting stage you might take 6 months to write. After that, yes, you need not to do that. So many months are not required. Within a short span of time, you can write a thesis because you get a hang of it and you feel very good about publication. All right. So final stage of research activity is report writing. Okay. Now, of course, I told you that we need to have to all this. Then finally, we are writing report. Okay, report writing with all the component. What is necessary for us? I told you that. Okay. Now we'll start report writing. How it is? Okay. Okay. Report writing. What, why, and what is a format? These are the aspects. Let us see. What is report writing? Research reports are detailed and accurate accounts of the conduct of disciplined studies accomplished to solve problems or to reveal new knowledge. Okay, it's a report. Here it is written, it is a detailed report. Yes, it should be detailed enough to give the entire story of your research, but not quantitatively, but it is qualitatively when you are talking about the article writing for a publication. Okay. Research report writing is a written presentation of the evidence and the findings in such detail and form as to be readily understood and accessed by the readers. That means publishing, and that has to be accessed by the readers. Okay. Why report writing? Research task remains incomplete till the report has been presented or and written. Okay. The most brilliant hypothesis or highly well designed and conducted research study and the most striking generalizations and findings are of little value unless they are effectively communicated to others. Okay, unless you communicate to others, okay, we cannot, unless they are effectively communicated, it will not become a knowledge. So we have to take little effort to communicate this to the other side of the readers so that they'll get benefited and people get benefited from your suggestions and from your study. Okay. Now let us see what is the publication format. All right. Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3. There are 3 parts in the publication. 3 parts are there. All right. Let us take Part 1. In Part 1, what all components will come? Part 1 need title, author's name, abstract and summary. Abstract and summary, no, abstract or summary, both are same. Okay, and then keywords. Then keywords. So title, author's name, abstract or the summary. It can be called as abstract or summary. Some journals, they call it as summary, and the keywords. These are coming under part 1. For example, see, this is my first, first means my independently I have done this, but it is a good journal actually, but it was in a good journal. It was in a Web of Science thing, but then it came out of that. I think they have rejected this one. Now I don't know in which condition it is. Okay. Measuring job satisfaction and impact of demographic characteristics among doctors of teaching hospitals. Very simple study. But still they have taken it up because doctors of teaching hospitals. Okay. Doctors is the new thing here. Why? Because doctors, it is very difficult to take data. All right. So IT professionals, if at all done, my study should not have been accepted at all. All right. So since it is something new, it's doctors of teaching hospitals. All right. So title, then authors, and then abstract, and then keywords. So there is one more along with our student. It is human rights of the elderly, an awareness study among youths. This is UGC here journal. And getting this, because this is only one journal for geriatric patients, geriatric people, gerontology, Indian Journal of Gerontology. It's very highly used and acceptance is very low, but still this studies got accepted with the same page, because it is got accepted. We have sent one more article regarding some geriatric related patients. They have not accepted, they rejected that. All right. So this is one more study. See here also. We need a title, understood, and we need the designations and authors of the paper. See, it has to come like this only, because some people, that I'm reviewer for some journals and all, but in all fashion the things will come. Okay. So horrible, because see, at least you read the author guidelines. See, author guidelines, they have a certain that you have to read in for every journal, but you need to have the components, the material what I have explained you before this. If you have those things, then it is neatly, you will be putting it in their format. The format is same only, almost same only. All right, all the journals. Okay. So like this, and then abstract. Then finally it comes a keywords. Now keywords, why it is important? Keywords also you have to give very carefully, dear participants. Why? Because if at all I am searching for job satisfaction, okay, okay. Suppose your study contains job satisfaction, but you are not given it as a keyword, then your paper will not come into picture. Okay, for searching people, no, for searching, okay, keywords will make a difference. So in the keyword, you give such that which are all the component, like which are all the main issues you are talking about. So that aspect you give it in terms of keyword. See, my this human rights of elderly when you are talking about. Suppose some people they type I'm search for elderly some research, our journal will come up, our study will come up. Okay, even talking about human rights also it will come up. Youths when you are talking about rural, urban, like that. You understood? If at all your publication should get a good uh, identity in the sense referencing, okay, then you use appropriate keywords. Okay, you cannot ignore the keyword. And one more thing, good articles, good journal, without keyword they will not accept. If you don't give keyword also they reject. Okay, but they will not reject outright, they'll ask for it. If at all again you have not given, they will reject. All right. See, there is one more study, the service quality in healthcare. This is a study we have done, exploring servicescape and patients' perceptions. Okay, so this is in Q2 journal. This is a Q2 journal. Okay, Taylor and Francis. It is in second quartile journal. All right, here also see topic, and then comes
Japan para. Dibanda sirar da
abstract.
korpuni bangar lar selection mantunar bartir wende. Onde po class ke ban chonye.
Abstract,
Rikshada dirpone
and
rikshada
then
kupira orda
there
pavante.
is a disturbance, I
Ko
think. No?
betene
Yeah.
rikshada ko era
Okay.
tenkle neron ko. Alla tandu betene rikshada ko. Ane awu anda awulla moklena demand. Yerenyan per dara sire daw den ko ni narada tu
Hello, people are there with me? Friends, you are there with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. So here also see comes abstract, and there is a keyword in this side we have given. See, this is their format. They have made it in this format. Here there is a keyword here. Okay, and this is what the article I was talking about. Okay, this is recently published. See here, where is the date? See here, August 2022. All right. This is the one, spirituality and spiritual care in nursing, validity of the spirituality and spiritual care rating scale in an Indian context. Okay, this is the article that we got it in a Q1 journal. This is in a Q1 journal. Okay, again it is yeah. So this is what I can say that it's achievement. All right. Otherwise, it's very difficult to get into Q1 journal. All right. So here also see title and then authors and then abstract. Okay, keywords. So this is for the part one, dear friends. Part one should contain this, and you cannot ignore sometimes the author when you are giving, so you have to give it the author name properly, email ID, everything, because they'll ask for change if at all anything is there. But once they accept and publication, you cannot change. After that, if you keep on mailing that you add this author, that author, they will not consider that, and then they will think that you are like an unprofessional kind of people. Whomever author you want to include, you include in your study. So in your study, there are I am the only author, and it is good. My article is good. It will not consider like that. Since you are one author, the article is good. No. So here we are three are there. If there are six, you don't know in our medical research there are 12 authors will be there, because part data will come from all the 12 people there. You understood? It's not that you are only two authors are means your article is good, it's considered as good. I'm the lone author, so it is a good article. No, it's not like that. All right. You include many authors, no problem. Many people you can include in your study, but their contribution is important. What their contribution also they'll ask. Journal will ask that what is the contribution of each one. All right. So that's why in contribution is required like that. So sometimes what happens, oh, I am publishing, I will not tell my friend that I am publishing this article and all that. No, that's like no little bit of your our attitude is like no not broad. Okay, you can take a help of any people, but if they help, then only you can give their like no give them the authorship. All right. Next is part 2. Okay. In the part 2 of article is start with introduction. You need to give the introduction properly. Okay. What is the meaning of properly? It has to. Okay. Part 2 contains what and all I'll tell you. Introduction, objectives, background. That means literature review, methodology, results and discussion. Okay. These part I'm talking about in part 2. Okay. Now, introduction. What all things in the introduction? See, we since we are teachers, we have a right like talking non-stop and writing also so many things. We think that oh this is important, that is important. No. And good journals, they don't like the big paragraphs. They like the small paragraphs. Why you tell me? Big paragraph means we are writing many same thing in the big paragraph. Correct, no? So 3 paragraphs you give, okay? 3 paragraphs you give, wherein you are talking about general introduction of the topic about general introduction. You talk about one small paragraph, and that is to the topic, general introduction to the topic. Then explanation about why study is important. That's all you'll be talking. Okay, why your study is important. Okay, so you can give 3 paragraphs in the introduction, wherein one paragraph is focusing on what is your study about, in general introduction. Okay, then second and third paragraph clearly it shows that why your study is important. Second paragraph also it is generally like talking about issues here and there you have to like so. You have to have these 2 components, general introduction to the topic and explanation about why your study is important. All right. So various people have done this study and they found that like, no, you have to, again here also, people are not asking that you write it from your pocket. You take a help of like, take a journal, like, articles, reviews only, you take it and you can write it, paraphrase it, otherwise it will show in the plagiarism, paraphrase it and write it about, see, we have written introduction, it's not, entire thing is from our pocket. We have not written entire thing from what we are writing. And we have taken the help of various journals. Okay, you can see here, see, 1, 3 is here and 4 and 5, the reference. And all the references we have given wherever we are talking about, like, 3. So, this referencing, reference and paraphrase it and provide that what is required, general introduction and then explanation about why study is important, introduction part. Don't like we say that abstract is not more than 250 words, okay, and introduction maybe like 500 words, all right, not more than that. Okay, next is objectives. Then you talk about objectives. Okay, so provide the objectives. Now here also see human rights. See, I am showing my papers because why? Because it is there with me. It doesn't mean that it's something standard and all. See, this human rights has come in UGC care only. Okay, UGC care paper, but it's not in and because it's a student has done this study. Okay, student data. So we try to like collaborate with the student data, and we have written this one. Okay, so data is of student. Student collected the data. All right. So this is this one because it's easy for me to show you that. This why I'm taking this article. So Now objectives, see your objectives are here. This is the introduction, and then after saying that all these things, keeping in mind the various programs for elderly and the fast changing socio-economic scenarios such as all those things, and then we said that these are all the objectives we are taking for the study. Okay, so this is in part 2 under introduction and objectives. All right. Then part 2 includes introduction I told we discussed, and objectives we discussed. Next is background of the study, background and literature review. Okay, so you ask me why background and literature is important. See here where your study will get uplifted with the knowledge, or uplifted, your article will be uplifted because of if you give a proper background, in the sense literature review. All right. So background and literature review, see. So background we have given here in this example. Okay. So this is purely talking about the literature review. You see that everywhere brackets and numbers. Okay. See, in the background, what we do is, we have 2 objectives, you think. Okay. Background study we give for 1 objective. Okay. Suppose if you are talking about the dimensions of service care, okay, study of dimensions of service care. We collected the articles about the dimensions of service care, and then we try to give the background in the dimensions, and then we try to say that the first objective we were selected because of the result of this background. So this first objective for the study is this. Okay. So like that we give the background. Okay. See here that assessment of service care in healthcare sector. Okay. Background here we have given, and we showed that in healthcare sector that has not been done so much. So hence the present study was conducted to assess the perception of patients in the selected hospital, and this led to the development of objective 2 and formulation of hypothesis to see if there was a significant difference in the perception of the patient in the outpatient department. You understood? So what we have to show here is, we have the background. So I developed this objective in my study, because this particular study is not done for among the teachers or doctors or things like that. So I developed the first objective, and then you give the set of literatures, and then you write that the second objective is developed, and give certain literature, then say that hypothesis is developed. So like that. So that's why that background or literature. Otherwise, what we see is people are writing according so and so. Here's 1 paragraph, again another paragraph, according to so and so, another paragraph, according to so and so. No, that is maybe some journal they accept, but I am telling that you give it in a paragraph of all the researchers component. You take it and write it in your own word and give them the referencing, and then you say that I have developed this article. Okay. So here you see this background is not like according to so and so, according to so and so, not like that, isn't it? Yeah. So objectives we developed because of that. So background of the stress among this one also. If you see what we do here, if at all you're taking all these objectives, I'm telling you, under the background of the study, you need to have some studies to show that this one, demographic variables, how it is influenced IT professionals' stress. Some studies you need to show this second objective. Some studies you have to write and show the third objective, fourth objective, fifth objective, like that. So if you take only 2 objectives to study the demographic influence of on stress, and to measure the stress and causes of stress, only 2 objectives if you take articles which is published about talking about the demographic influence, and take that, and then you say that, so we developed one first objective to study is this, and second objective. So 2 objectives are enough for any good journal. All right. Next. Okay. In the part 2, second part only, we have next is methodology. Okay. So methodology, you know that what all things we have to give: study type, population, sample, and then method of data collection, how you are collecting the data, and then you have to talk about what statistical analysis you have used. So, what all things we have to use here? Study type, population of the study, sample size, method of data collection, brief description of the questionnaire. Say, some people, they do a study, what type of question they asked, how it is asked, nothing is it. I am not telling that you have to give the questionnaire in that. No, you have to give one small paragraph saying that the questionnaire consists of what are all the components, what and all things you have asked in the questionnaire. Okay, that one small paragraph is required, and also along with that, you have to mention that you have done the pilot study and you have done the reliability and validity of the questionnaire, and you found it is valid and reliable. So you proceeded with collecting the data. That information has to be given under that particular, where giving the brief description of the questionnaire. Okay. After that, you have to use statistical analysis. What all the analysis you used in your study. Okay. So here, if you see here, in the studies, a cross-sectional descriptive study carried out on 105 doctors of teaching hospitals of Mangalore. Okay, sample size was calculated 100 with the 20% relative allowable error and 95% confidence interval. Assuming level of job satisfaction is 50% in doctors. All right, calculated. Okay, our questionnaire was how it is we have given here. Next is a measure structured that in the sense regarding the questionnaire only, how that questionnaire includes questionnaire developed, and then part 1 includes the demographic variables, part 2 consists of questions related to 6 factors of job satisfaction. We have so like this. So that's what I'm telling you. We have to give that. We have to show that we have used the right method to collect the data. All right. So here also research methodology. See, they have given some description, and here the tool. Tool means what? It is again questionnaire. So questionnaire in the research language, you call it as tool. Tool is the one which is instrumental to repair something. Correct? Now we call it as tool, or to collect something, or like that. So it is a tool. Tool means the instrument which is being, or it's called as instrument also. Questionnaire is also called as instrument of collecting data. Okay. So like that. Okay. Understood here. Now part 2 consisted of all these areas. Hope you are all with me. Okay. We have now
Yes,
short time and some small things to discuss. Okay. Yeah. So now part 2, introduction we have seen, objectives we have seen, background of the study we have seen, and methodology and results, and okay, results and discussion. Methodology we have seen, but results and discussion. Okay. So results and discussion you see here. Say demographic data in your study, and don't give one table for age, one table, gender, one table, and then occupation another table, and very unscientific diagrams for gender to show one diagram and things like that. Table also will be there, diagram also will be there. See, good journal will not accept many tables and many diagrams. All right. Only maximum tables are allowed is three tables. Only 3 tables you can give. Then you can say that, oh, I have so many things, so how I am giving 3 tables? And I have seen the papers where, see, people use SPSS, and then what output to SPSS gives, entire thing they lift and put it in their article, and they it looks very shabby that I feel no, oh my, I will not read only those papers, which if I see that such type of things, because if you read no content, I feel in that. Okay. So SPSS, what output it gives, you see that chi-square test they adopt, and then that chi-square table one will come. That entire table they will give, and in the research, and then if any table if you are giving, you need an explanation. But that explanation will not be there. One table will be there, because people think that if they give, that is a great thing. It's not like that. Okay. It's not like that. Entire thing, whatever SPSS gives, you don't give. You concise your table, and only 3 tables are allowed, and make it concise and put it in a good format, and give that. See, our demographic variable we have given in the diagram form here, and all our measures we have given in the form of the table, making it one table. Okay. So, and then you see results and discussion. Two things are there. All right. Some people, some journal, they ask results separate and discussion separate. Okay. But in some paper, they never mind result and also discussion. All right. In the sense, see here, assessment of job satisfaction. Okay. Here, I am telling that in my study what it has come out. And along with that, I can discuss, in the sense I can provide what other study has shown about job satisfaction in their study. That is what is called as discussion. Okay. Studying my results, correlating my results with the other studies. Okay. That is what called as discussion. So you can give your information and the discussion simultaneously, or some articles they say that you have to have a separate section for discussion. So after giving all this result, then you can go on talking about the discussion under the discussion section. So discussion doesn't mean that you are giving something. No, the article only, the literature only you are taking a help, and various studies you are taking a help, and you are discussing your point there. Okay. So that's about discussion. Hope it is understood, because we cannot say, I cannot take like one study and I'll tell you, because it may not be, you think it's not my study, right? Each study is unique, and we need to have the understanding that how it has to come. That's what I'm trying to explain here. Okay. So here results and discussion together. Okay. Like this, only one table only. See, otherwise it can be like 1, 2, 3 tables. Okay, you can put it in one table only. So that's about part 2. Part 1 is over and part 2 is over. Hope it is understood, and hope there will be a good papers coming out. Okay, so now of course part 3 is there. Okay, hope it is clear, because this very important aspect. But part 1 and part 2 is very, very important. Okay. Now part 3. Part 3 should contain conclusion, limitation, implications, and references. All right. So conclusion of the study, whole thing you have to the present study concludes that overall doctors were moderately satisfied with the job. 2 among the 6 domains, interpersonal relationship and working condition, they were highly satisfied. See, this is my conclusion. That conclusion drawing, it might vary with the people to people and study to study. Okay. So conclusion is again giving the gist of the study, what you have done, what is the result you got, the gist of it. Okay. And then I am talking about there are some important aspects related to job that organizations need to pay attention, where doctors were moderately satisfied, are salary and reasons for that. Okay. So conclusion part has to come in one paragraph, not more than 250 words. Better within 250 words. All right. Next comes limitation of the study. So our study, anybody studying, okay, it is not perfect. Okay. Limitation means maybe sample size limitation, okay, or certain components you could not do it, or so whatever shortcomings are there in your study, you can openly declare that you can tell that this is what the limitation of study. Very good, you are open about it, and then you can speak about it, means you are you are a good researcher. All right, limitation of the study. Next is implications. What your study gains, what is your implication of your study? Okay, that implication has to be given. In this particular study, the implication is not given, but given along with the conclusion. But implication can be given with the telling that. But see, some of the studies, that implication what we give, it may not be so good, that some journals will not ask for implications at all, but then they'll ask when they are filling the box. But then as a side heading, they may not ask, but in the conclusion, along with the conclusion, we might have to give that implication. Okay. So limitation of the study here, it is given. See, in this study, factors affecting the awareness level has not been studied, and even awareness was not compared across the courses as number of respondents were not evenly distributed. Further study can be taken up to compare the awareness level across the demographic. Like this is regarding our this one human rights, elderly human, awareness of youth regarding human rights. Okay. In this, they have specifically asked for us, like, write the limitations of the study, because this limitation of the study, it helps the researcher to take up that as a research gap in their study. It's very good actually. All right, here also the limitation study, as a sample size is limited to one hospital. See, we have done for one step. It is not conclusive enough to be generalized for a large population. Further studies can be conducted to justify the model, such as compared corporate hospitals as well as public hospitals. The relationship between the patient characteristics and their perception of the physical environment can be examined. See, here clearly given some objectives for you to study, correct? No? Limitations will help the people to identify the gap, and then they can take that as their objective. Okay. Here something called a disclosure is there. Disclosure means whether anything whether the conflict of interest is there. Okay, if at all anybody has a problem with your research and things like that, we have to say that there is no potential conflict of interest reported by the author. Okay. Next, that is a contribution of these. Contribution of the author. Sometimes they'll give it in the paper only, or then they will not give it in the paper, but they need that contribution of each author. The study authors participated in the designing and all those things. We have to give, because here there are three authors, and these three authors are contributed in what level also. If you give it is good. Okay. No, that give means some journals they'll ask specifically. If you go through their author guidelines, they will ask that disclosure should be given. Okay. If you are not given, they'll send a so when an article published, when you upload it, first the editor will see. First, that's one. Editor will go through that. If he finds that it is not according to the their journal publication, if that article is good, if he feels the first phase, okay, then he'll send back to the author saying that you include all these things, you make the corrections, all these things, and then they'll put one word also there clearly. It doesn't mean that your article is accepted. Okay, so that we have to again put it, and we have to send it to the editor. Then he'll send a reply that your article is accepted and it is being sent to the reviewers. If the reviewers are accepting it, then your study is accepted. Otherwise, if they say that it is not worthwhile publishing in our journal, then they reject it. Means it will come back to your. It might take 6 months, or it might take 3 months, or it might take 1 week, or it might take 1 year also. All right. Doesn't mean that if they keep long duration means it is accepted. No, unless they say that accepted, you cannot consider it as accepted. Okay. So, but if at all you have something like your promotion is due and your thesis submission is due, that acceptance letter is there also. It is okay in the good job. Okay. So implications and references. So references, see, in medical research, we give references in the Vancouver style. You might have seen that numbers, we give the references in terms of numbers. We give the numbers, and that numbers are here references being given. Vancouver style, there is a specific medical journals will follow that Vancouver style, but in management, we follow APA style, correct? No? APA style that we write inside the bracket in the references according to so and so, that the name of the person, and then here we try to give. Okay. So referencing also, it is very individualistic of that particular journal it is. Okay. They will tell that you have to produce your references in this format only. Okay. So most of the comment what we got is referencing is all not all right. Vancouver style, there are a lot of versions are there. So that dot, comma, and everything it was. So we use actually we use mentally for the referencing, but still sometimes that will not be according to the journal. So we get tough time with the reference correction of referencing actually, but then still at the end, if it is getting published, your effort will be cherished. Okay, so that's for references. All right. So now I think we are done with all the three parts. Okay. So a little bit referencing, I think it will be detailed, it will be considered, okay, in one of your sessions. I will not go into, because anyway, I don't have anything detailed in that. But how to go about it? Like, see, there are one Zotero is there, and then you need not to put any effort. Mendeley is there. I prefer Mendeley, and because I use Mendeley, and then Zotero is there. And now, no, now you just listen to me. There are a lot of like the softwares where you get your literatures, okay, very easily, okay, and your literature survey and literature review will be very, very, very it is hassle free and it is painless. So such softwares are there, all right. So maybe you might have to search for such online. You search which software. Very little bit you need to know about it, and then all your article, or you may not be not required to get article. You just type your what is your study? Okay, work-life balance. Then in no time, all the studies from various sources it will collect and give you. You need not to go for anything but it might be in lakhs or 600 or 300 or 400. In that again, if you want to make it little specific to your study also, you can try that. Okay, there are softwares. There are a lot of softwares are there, very good softwares are there. Maybe you can try that. Okay, I have not ventured into that so far, but I'm with the Mendeley only as of now. But those software is also there. But I have attended one session where we were talking about that software. I don't remember now, but then it is there online. Okay, all right. Okay, so these are the things, areas wherein parts where we have to take care of while writing a publication or paper. A good paper will contain all these parameters. Okay. So we can say that, see, introduction part 2 is an introduction, because anyway, the first part is like no author or this abstract, we say that not more than 200 or 250 words, all right? And rest of the things, maybe you can give a 10% of your total numbers. I think total words, what is required for the introduction and objectives, background maybe 10%, and methodology 10%, results and discussion 50%, and then part 1 10% and part 2 10%. Okay, so total 100%. What is this 10%? 10% of that total paper. So 10% of that words can be part 1, 10% for introduction and objective, 10% for background of the study. Background of the study, sometimes it will go up to 20% also. It is good if at all it is more, but it should not be unless unnecessary papers. And one more thing, dear participants, you cannot go back to the what and all research within in the 1970 or 1965 or even 2000 also, it is outdated now. You can go up to 5 years back. Since 5 years articles, you try to accumulate and give it as a background. Okay, so since 5 years, all right. 2010 also it is outdated. 2015 onwards, maybe you need to take it for your publication. All right. So that is also there. There are a lot of studies that the old, good old studies, and you don't try to bring in this one, because that gives a bad impression for the acceptance. Okay. So when you say that it is a report writer, whatever you wrote, it is a good report. It's a topic is clear, balanced language. Yeah, language is a one more thing what international publications will ask us, correct your language and things like that. And also these good journals will not long paragraphs. We have to give them the short paragraphs. All right. So no repetition of the facts. Statement of the scientific facts only. like our slangs, maybe and can be and seems to be and things like that. No, this is a small word I am using. So such words has to be like it has to be avoided. Description of the difficulties and shortcomings has to be given it. You have to give that limitations of the study. So in spite of all that, whatever we considered, dear participants or dear friends, anyway, writing report or the article writing is an art. Okay, so one should always keep in view the fact that report writing is an art which is learned by practice and experience, not looking at my slide. Okay, so my slide is telling you that what all things are there, but the difficulties you face when you start writing. Okay, so most difficult part for me in writing the article is writing introduction. Okay, it is taking my lot of time that I writing introduction, general. See, we cannot give many more things. We can give only that one paragraph of general introduction, and then why it is important. I have to bring it out, and then I have to give you that properly I have to write, right. In writing introduction is the most difficult part for me, but it may not be for others. And all other things I can manage very well, but that writing introduction is a little difficult for me. That's why I'll always hesitate. Oh my God, I have to write no now and all. So that way. So what happens is we always collaborate each other in my department. So some will take up writing introduction, and some will take up that and everything like that. Okay. So like that we manage. Okay. So the management relates. So this one management, in the sense, the recent study, what it has been published is, I told you that in the Q1 journal it has been published. That's the one great thing. Other journals, of course, I'm collaborated with all medical researchers, okay, medical studies, that all coming in PubMed articles. PubMed also it is there in Web of Science, but some PubMed articles are not in quartiles in Q1, Q2, Q3, and all we cannot find. Okay, but if they are Web of Science, yeah, all Web of Science articles are like the journals are not in quartiles. Okay, all are not in quartiles. I mean, Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. What we are talking about, it is not there. Only some of them are there in Q1 articles means it is in first quartile. Okay, if you get it in that, excellent. Feeling also, it's very excellent. All right. Okay, so paper present. Okay. Now, I think I have a time, sir.
Yeah, madam. Yeah.
Yeah. Can I talk about a little bit about paper presentation,
Okay.
dear friends? Why? Because see, in the paper presentation, oral presentation, I'm talking about, not the poster presentation. Paper presentation, what happens with us teachers, all the researchers, we know many things. What happens is when paper presentation comes for us, we try to explain and explain. We are stuck in the introduction only. We are not moving further like now, okay, I have something result, and there the organizers will believe they bell, stop, they sell top, but then still we are on with the introduction only because we have not completed. 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes we ask, and then because paper publication, whenever I went for judging, this is what the scenario, all right. And I also did the same thing in my first presentation. It is like that because I did not get a chance because I had to stop in introduction only and come out. All right. So, dear friends, so keep it in your mind that you have only 10 minutes or 8 minutes. Clearly, organizers are telling you that this is what. See, now I am preparing my students with these slides only, because so that they can finish it off with the specified time. And for my students, I give two plans, Plan A and Plan B. Plan A is according to, in the brochure, they tell us that you are allowed 8 minutes plus 2 minutes of questioning, answer and all. They'll tell like that. So I prepare them for 8 minutes, one, okay. And then I'll tell you, after going there, you never know, they might shorten it up for 5 minutes. So you prepare for Plan B also for 5 minutes, okay. So for 5 minutes, what they do? They show that introduction is a little bit introduction, they'll tell, and methodology, everything, they just skip the slides. But they show the slide, they will not explain, skip the slide, and they'll come for the results, and they explain conclusion. And the referencing, they just show, okay? Because you have only so much time, all right? So like that. So you always prepare two plans, plan A and plan B. Plan A, that whatever time they have given for that, and plan B for a if they shorten the time, so for that also you should be able to, you should be ready for that. So paper presentation, how it should be, I am not telling you that, but how many slides you have to make, I am telling that aspect, okay? So that's what, because number of slides more also, it is not good. Okay, now slide one. See, there is a number of slides. Slide one, you have to give about the topic and presenting the author. And then if there are co-authors or the guide, anybody is there, you can give the first slide. Okay, slide one is topic, presenting author's name and co-author, if any. All right. Next, slide two. Okay, inside slide two, introduction to the topic. Briefly, one slide two you give. But anyway, you have to orally tell something, okay? But you don't exceed the time, okay? Slide 2, introduction, only one slide, okay? Slide 3, need and the purpose of the present study. What is the need of the study, okay? What is the purpose of the study? That has to be bullet-wise or the point-wise, that has to come in the slide 3, okay? Next, slide 4, literature review or gap identification, only one slide. Now, how you can give literature review, you can ask. Don't give anything there. You just mention that these are the literatures I have referred. That's all. But that referencing you give, I mean, which are the literature you give their, like what you say, referencing references. References you give, okay? But don't try to explain literature review according to so and so, so and so. No, these articles are, we're talking about this aspect. One summary of the literature review, and then the summary also, don't elaborate. One summary, and say that this is what the study not done very much, or this is the study done in the IT sector but not with the teachers, something like that. Gap identification will be. All right, that is slide 4. Next, slide 5. Slide 5 is for objectives and hypothesis. Mention your objectives and mention your hypothesis. Next comes slide 6. Slide 6 is about methodology. Okay, methodology. Slide 6 is about methodology. You have to talk about population, okay, all those population, sample, study type, and sample size, okay, and what are the statistical methods you used, that you have to write in the methodology. Only one slide. All right. Next, slide 7, 8, 9, 10. 4 slides for the results. Okay, these results, maybe you can use it as a graphical or the table form, whatever form you use, but 4 slides are enough. Okay, so that's for 4 slides for that presentation. Next, 11th slide is for conclusion, implications and limitations. Okay, and 12th slide is for references. In the references, you are not reading out any references. You are just showing that these are the references of my article. I mean, the study has been taken up, okay, reviewed, only that. Slide 13 is thank you. Thank you slide has to be there. So you prepare 13 slides for 10 minutes or 8 minutes, okay. You little bit manage your time, mind, okay. This much I am going to tell, okay. If at all they say that only 5 minutes you have, not even 10 minutes, then you think, you see to that some things you skip. But show it. Show that you have that content, you show. Right? But you skip that, or you directly go to the objectives and then the results and the conclusion. Okay. So you need to have keep only 13 slides. You see that you can manage this one. But of course, slides any number, one slide also we can keep and we can talk 1 hour. I know that. But you have to mentally prepare that. Mentally, you have to see that introduction means not more than 3-4 sentences. Or fast something you can tell. Okay. But important is what is your research gap and then things like that, objectives and the results. All right. So with that, I think that's about the presentation. Okay. About referencing, maybe I will not talk about referencing now because it's been considered. This is not much about this referencing and all, so it will be considered later. Okay. All right. Yeah. I think that's about my presentation.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you